don't want people to really have to change their processes. What we want them to do is enhance their process. But when we really dug into it and we looked at some of the things that are really blocking model-based quantity from becoming more common, it broke down into a couple of different things that I think were interesting. The first one is the skill gap. And that's really, comes down to trying to put a BIM process in place in organizations and in training. But to make it truly something that is more common for everyone, there's a couple more things that need to happen. Those models have to become more reliable. The last thing is standards. In order to make it all real, we really need some standardization of what goes into those models. Owners don't know what to ask for, contractors don't really know what to expect. And the more we standardize, the more predictable it is in terms of the data associated with objects within a model. It makes it easier for them to be taken off. So if all that comes together, that's what we think is going to lead to model-based quantities really being something that can be a future state here in construction.
So I'll start it off. So basically, the original statement actually was talking about utilizing the BIM design. We went away from that as a group and really wanted to focus on the model itself and to be able to extract the takeoff quantities. And then carrying on through that, we still wanted the estimators to be able, one of the areas where they needed to be able to trust and verify the model. But we also talked about standardizing the processes on how we're going to do the training and development of the models in conjunction with the designers and construction, working together to develop those processes so that the model-based quantities produce more reliable bids to produce a more reliable project outcome through the collaborative digital workflows that are developed as an industry. Do you have anything to add to that?
No, I think that's a good cover of how we changed this. I didn't necessarily think that we didn't do away with the idea of design, but we expanded it to just the model because the design was very limited. We noticed in our own workflows, it's not always the design model we're getting quantities from. Sometimes it's a model we build ourselves. Sometimes it's a design model and we expand upon it to get the quantities ourselves. So we just wanted to open that up to, not making everyone think that only the design model is going to give you quantities. There's other ways to get it. Models help you regardless of how you get that model.
Right. And tying that back in with GIS, is obviously using GIS to be included with that as well. So all your existing conditions and everything as well. So, and this was our impacts. Yeah.
Do you want the last one at all, or if you covered everything, I'm guessing you probably covered everything.
Yeah, I think that's everything in there. Yeah, everything kind of went through. Yeah.
Side of the board, or
Do what?
the last picture, was that the current state side of the board, or were you guys on the other one?
This one was this was where we ended up today. So yeah, the future state, adding the model base in there. Before we didn't have that in that piece of it. So
Talk about this one for a second.
yeah.
Yeah. So, good question. This is where we ended up today. And, it doesn't necessarily help if you don't see the changes we made. Good news is that the changes we made were not terribly significant. When we talked about what is, hurting us, where the pain points are when it comes to quantity takeoff, it really wasn't about the process. The process isn't changing all that much. So the current state was that this part, which is modeling, wasn't really there. We went from our designer to our owner to the bid documents that went up to the GC, and the GC went straight to their estimating system and then delivered their bid. And, maybe we got models from the designer, but the reason that we, in future state, added something else is because we realized that as contractors, we are starting to do this. We're adding this extra component of, okay, no matter what happens, I'm going to model a little bit. And I know that's happening on my projects. It's happening on your projects, that modeling is becoming something that happens so that we can get to the estimate. So that's why we're looking at that as future state, because I know that's not true of everyone. Oh, okay.